This is one of Honda's least reliable cars, but it's still relatively reliable compared to most other cars out here. Keem team, what it do? Welcome to Keem's Garage. I'm your host, Keem the New Kid, and we are back with one more video. Today, I'm gonna be reviewing Honda's least reliable car. And even if it isn't factually Honda's least reliable car, I don't think it's very far off. And I'll explain why throughout this video. Now, the vehicle in question is my 2011 Honda Pilot, or the second gen Pilot in general. The reason why I say this is a few reasons. Firstly, I'm gonna talk about the drivetrain, right? This has a 3.5 liter Honda J35 V6, pushing 250 horsepower, and I forget how many torques it has. And Honda is they've been making the J series V6 for quite a while now. And it also has the 5-speed automatic transmission. Here's why this is Honda's most problematic platform. This shares the same platform as the Ridgeline and I believe the Odyssey as well. Between their least reliable vehicles, I think it's between the Odyssey and the Pilot, because my dad actually owned a Honda Odyssey and it hasn't ran in years. God damn. I don't know what he's doing. My dad owned a Honda Odyssey, and the biggest problem with that platform is the transmission. A lot of early Honda Pilots and Honda Odysseys had bad transmissions, and even then, it carries into the second gen Pilot as well. The 1 year of the second gen Pilot that you don't want to get is 2009. That is probably the year with the most transmission issues reported. I still think second gen Pilots in general have transmission issues, and even the engine, right? Let's talk about the engine. The issues with the engine is by far the VCM. Now, VCM stands for Variable Cylinder Management. What that means is I'm cruising at a highway speed, 65 miles an hour, and that green light that says eco, that means VCM is on right now. What that means is, to save gas, it shuts off 2 or 3 cylinders at highway speeds or at any cruising speed in order to save gas. Now, it does save a bit of gas, but in return, it causes a plethora of other problems. It causes foul spark plugs on the rear bank. It causes extra wear on the piston rings. It burns extra oil. It causes carbon buildup. It's by far the most problematic piece of technology in this car. And any Honda V6. The second problem with this engine is oil leaks. Now, when I bought a Honda, I didn't think I'd be signing up for oil leaks. It's in one spot in particular that I haven't heard talked about in any video on the Honda Pilot, or any V6 Honda for that matter. It's the VTEC solenoid, or there's a bunch of different names for it, but the VTEC solenoid, there's oil that runs through it, and I don't remember exactly how it works, but there's a gasket. And that gasket tends to leak, and it tends to go bad after a while. The gasket on its own is about no more than $20, I want to say, but the solenoid altogether is, I believe, well over $200. But of course, Honda won't sell you just the gasket. You have to get the whole assembly. You have to get the entire solenoid assembly. You can get a gasket from an aftermarket manufacturer for relatively cheap, and it's not a very laborious job at all. Getting something like that fixed is no small fortune, but these problems, if you don't know about them, you won't know what's causing that leak. You might think it's an oil pan gasket. You might think it's even a rear main seal. You might even think it's a valve cover gasket or a head gasket. You know, shops will tell you that, and people will easily believe it because they don't know what a VTEC solenoid is. Most people have no idea. I very recently had the alternator on this car replaced. By the way, shout out to Los Mobile Mechanics, right? These people recently had a guy come over because this leak caused my alternator to fail. Where the VTEC solenoid is and where the gasket is and where the leak comes from, it's right above the alternator. So all this time, oil was dripping on the alternator, and that's what killed it. One day, my car just didn't start. It was just a huge problem. I didn't think it was that big of a leak, and I didn't think that that was where the leak was coming from. And it happens on other V6 Honda as well. The guy who did my alternator, he's told me this. He told me, funnily enough, that he had recently done another guy's alternator on a Honda V6, and he had the exact same problem. The oil was leaking from the exact same spot. But for some reason, Honda refuses to sell you the gasket on its own. Now, bear in mind, this is one of Honda's least reliable cars, but it's still relatively reliable compared to most other cars out here. It's probably more reliable than the Dodge Dart in front of me. No shade if you own a Dodge Dart. That's just what it is. Chrysler products aren't very good. It's probably more reliable than that Jeep Grand Cherokee up ahead. I don't think it's more reliable than the Sienna in the middle lane. But you get the point. I've seen these last as long as, over 300,000 miles. These will do very good if you look after the VCM, if you look after the transmission, if you look after the solenoid gasket and any other oil leaks. If you do, regularly schedule maintenance, getting your oil changes every, 4,000 to 5,000 miles or, once, twice a year, whatever the case may be, as long as you take care of it, take good care of it, it will last. The issue is, if people don't tell you that the solenoid gasket is a problem and that the VCM is a problem, you won't know to look after that. You'll just keep, changing the oil, thinking it's all good, and then the VCM destroys the engine. There's been cases where that's happened. Now, the solution to that would be getting a VCM Delete, and get a good one. I forget what other kits are out there. I had one temporarily, but in certain temperatures, it would just throw a check engine light in colder temperatures, and I just didn't bother with it. I had gotten a really cheap one that was relatively easy to install. I got one that was easy to install. I didn't want to do fiddle around too much, and I just stopped bothering with it because at this point it's like I'm trying to out-engineer Honda. It's just not worth the stress. Ooh, a GL63 AMG. Very nice. Why were you cruising in my blind spot? I can't stand when people do that. You're on the left, just pass me. You have enough room. Whoa. Somebody swerved to miss their exit, for sure. I bet that's what that slowdown was. All right, come on, Subaru. Either speed up or get out the way. Oh my God, look at all that traffic. Golly. You were in the wrong lane entirely. Oh my God, bro. See, something is wrong. Like, something is wrong here. If the right lane is moving faster than every other lane, there's an issue.
Estimated time in traffic, 7 minutes.
I mean, I know it's just an estimate, but 7 minutes? Unacceptable. I suppose while I'm here, I could tell the story of the first time this car needed a major repair during the time that I owned it. This was the spring of 2024 when the radiator went out. Is this the exit? No, it's the next one. Yeah, the radiator went out. I was coming home from work one day and the engine, or under the hood, I see a bunch of smoke. And I'm like, whoa, what the hell is that? Fortunately, I made it home, being very cautious. And so I hit up a shop the next morning, and they're like, yeah, your radiator's bad, which that's no fault of the car. That's just the car being old. And luckily, I still had it under an extended warranty that covered it. Yeah, that process was just really stressful. That's my first time going through car troubles. And the mechanic I had at the time, the warranty company that my mechanic had contacted, they just kept giving him shit. They were asking all these questions. He told them the radiator had a crack in it. It was cracked in half, and they were like, oh, well, where is it cracked? Like, what difference does it make? Are you gonna fix it for us? What difference does it make where it's cracked? So I had gotten that done. Without warranty, it would have been about $1,200. But because it was under warranty, it was only about $300 or so. Well, it was the deductible, the towing fee, and the cost of the labor that the warranty wouldn't cover because I didn't use the part that the warranty would have provided. That's where extended warranties get you. And shout out to the mechanic that did my alternator too. Yeah, that knowledge is very valuable, knowing about the VTEC solenoid and that the gasket goes bad. People need to give mobile mechanics a chance. It's way harder for them, especially when they don't have a shop. They probably have to work in all kinds of weather. All right, let's do a little bit of, I guess, car spotting. We are going to Seaport, and being from Boston, when I think Seaport, I think money. I've seen an SLS in Seaport. I've seen a Chrome Aventador in Seaport. It's probably on one of the videos in my personal channel, but yeah, I've seen a 911 992 Dakar in Seaport. Seaport got money, man, crazy money. I've seen a few GLS Maybachs. I've seen a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, Huracan Performante. I've seen multiple Aventadors. So we're gonna see what we see this time. Okay, Northern Ave. Hey, what are you doing? This dude's slowing down. Let's see. I wonder what supercars I might see today. Oh, this is where my graduation was. I remember this. It's not a crosswalk, lady. It's not a crosswalk. Yeah, that's where I had my graduation. Wow, that's really almost 2 years ago. That's crazy. Am I allowed to go around cautiously? Oh, there's parking over here. Okay. Maybe I'll try it out. Maybe I will try it out. I haven't been here in a while. I think I'll end it right here. This seems like a good place to end. All right, that's right. I say that in like every video now. This car isn't terribly unreliable. Relative to most cars on the road, it is reliable, but relative to other Hondas, it is not very reliable. It has leaks, it has drivetrain issues, it has electrical issues. I've heard about issues with the sunroof. My sunroof hasn't given me any problems. I've heard issues with the headlights going out and the wiring going bad. Haven't had issues with that either, but issues have been reported. I don't expect this car, or at least I hope this car will never like leave me stranded. Anyways, if you guys like what you see, make sure you hit the like button, comment down below if you're new, comment what you like to see, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, drive safe and take care.